everyone, welcome. I'm Jaime Ocon, and here's what happened this week. An unmanned boat drone has been found after going missing for several days. The vessel, developed by Taiwan's Thunder Tiger technology, lost contact on May 27th during a test of its stealth capabilities off the coast of Hualien in eastern Taiwan. It was spotted off the country's northern coast on Friday. Some people had mistakenly believed the vessel was intended for military use, as it closely resembles the company's Sea Shark 800 drone, which can carry explosives. Taiwan is trying to build up a drone industry. It wants to use drones in its own defense and also benefit from the China-US rivalry. Louise Watt reports.
Manufacturers at an AI innovation center in southwestern Taiwan are giving visitors from Asia a taste of what the country hopes will be its next big product: drones. Already the world's leading semiconductor hub, Taiwan is now trying to build a drone industry. It's mostly producing drones for civilian uses like disaster response and traffic management. But it's also making drones for military purposes, part of a shifting defense strategy as it faces increasing threats from China, which claims sovereignty over democratic Taiwan.
Well, we know that based on the war in Ukraine, they've been using a lot of drones because they might be short of manpower. So this can be the same situation in Taiwan as well, because we don't have as many manpower compared to China.
In developing a drone industry, Taiwan is also competing with Beijing on another level. It wants to become an alternative supplier to China, which dominates drone making. As the US and other countries look to reduce dependence on Chinese manufacturers, Taiwan hopes it can step in. Here in the rural county of Chiayi, it set up a base for drone development and testing, part of its plan to become an Asian hub of drone supply chains for democratic nations. Legislator Guanting Chen of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party says he believes Taiwan is on the right track, but that it should target its own market first.
I would urge the Ministry of National Defense to open more bids to make sure that we have enough during the conflict time. Well, we hope that day will never come, but we need to stockpile those things so when the time comes, we have enough. And this is also a great deterrence to China to tell them we are going to prepare.
Here in Chiayi, Taiwan is demonstrating to potential Japanese suppliers and customers that its drone industry is already off the ground. Now it is trying to scale it up so the country can produce enough drones to also help protect itself in any future conflict with China. Hank Xu, Eason Chen and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is marking 80 years since U.S. warplanes tore through the skies of Taipei, carrying out the single deadliest bombing raid against the city of World War II. Brent Thomas has more.
80 years ago, in the closing months of World War II, Zhang Jingzhao, then aged 15, was about to experience one of life's great milestones, her final day of school. But it isn't classmates or diplomas she remembers most vividly.
迄空手伊会对遐来呼叫，直直来头仔来，拢无甲你放，拢无甲你迄啥，干那安尼来，干那安尼咱就惊甲心肝骨就砰砰菜啊。
The May 31st, 1945 air raid on Taipei was the worst to hit Taiwan during the war. The island, then a colony of the Japanese Empire, was a key strategic hub in Japan's war effort.
Japan had occupied Formosa, Korea, and part of China.
Taiwan plays a fundamental role in both trade, and due to its kind of maritime crossroads as one approaches Southeast Asia, of course, and it also plays an important military hub as the war expands from the late 1930s, but then really with the Pacific War in the early 1940s, because the majority of many ships will travel through that area.
The Allied air forces began bombing Taiwan in earnest in 1943. but early raids were sporadic, mostly carried out by smaller carrier-based planes with light payloads targeting industrial areas. Zhang Jingzhao could see and hear them from as far away as Xindian in what is now New Taipei.
They were hitting hard all over the map, all around the clock.
Lin Wenming was in Wanli in what is now New Taipei when it was attacked as part of U.S. bombings targeting the key port of nearby Geelong. In May 1945, with Germany defeated, the U.S. turned its full might towards the Empire of Japan. On the final day of May, 117 heavier B-24 bombers left the recently liberated Philippines bound for Taipei, where they met almost no resistance. The bombings continued until about 1 in the afternoon, killing an estimated 3,000 people in just 3 hours. Around 3,000 bombs ravaged Taipei's central government district. Strategic sites like Taipei Main Station were hit, along with landmarks such as parks, what is now the presidential office, and Longshan Temple. The bombings brought the city to a standstill, driving home the fact that by May of 1945, the tide of war had turned firmly against the Japanese Empire.
Taiwan certainly felt the effects of the war. There was significant Allied bombing at various points in the war on Taipei and other cities, which essentially were considered to be under Japanese occupation, or at least part of the Japanese Empire.
Sources differ, but around 5,000 civilians in Taiwan were killed in air raids during World War II, most of them on May 31st. 80 years later, the raid is only vaguely remembered, suppressed by Cold War narratives and overshadowed by far deadlier attacks elsewhere around the same time. Zhang Jingzhao still lives in Xindian in a small home surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Lin Wenming spent his life painting before retiring to Hualien. Their lives have spanned empires, republics, and generations, but the bombing of Taipei is something that they'll never forget. Ryan Wu, Ed Moon, Jeffrey Chen, and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
The military has shown off its CH-47 Chinook helicopters with a special training exercise held in front of news cameras. John Van Tres takes a look at just what these helicopters can do.
A CH-47 Chinook helicopter lowers a water bucket into a reservoir in southern Taiwan. Though these military workhorses are most visible around National Day in October, when they hoist the national flag over Taipei, on this occasion the military is showing off the sorts of tasks its fleet of 8 CH-47 Chinooks performs for the rest of the year. One of its duties is hauling water in buckets like these, some holding up to 5,000 liters at a time. Taiwan does have occasional forest fires, and the ability to haul so much water made these helicopters invaluable during disasters like the 2021 Yushan fire. The crew doing a mock exercise for news cameras makes it look easy. But just attaching a load to the helicopter's underside takes practice and a coordinated effort.
我们会用口令引导向前5、4、3、2、1，或者是如果超过勾接位置的话，会再引导飞机向后，然后以利勾接人员能够顺利勾接。
Though used till now in peacetime, the military says these helicopters are prepared for combat duty as well, both as logistical support and on the front line.
我们会协力地方的部队来执行油料及弹药的运补、伤患后送及战场搜救等任务。我们可以搭载武装兵进入指定的地区实施空中突击作战，更可以配合特战部队实施高空渗透。
The military hopes this demonstration will show its readiness whenever duty calls, for firefighting, for rescue, and even for war. Leon Lien and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Robots are joining Taiwan's firefighting crews, stepping into danger so their human colleagues don't have to. After one robot was destroyed in a Chiayi chemical blaze, officials say the sacrifice shows why they're so valuable, especially as the public has raised concerns about the safety of first responders. Chris Gorin reports.
Here lie the charred remains of a firefighting robot sent in to help put out a fire at a chemical plant last month in Chiayi in central Taiwan.
人直接先撤出，并留机器人继续在火场里面做防护的动作。人出来没多久，整个温度提高闪燃，所以就后来全面燃烧之后，屋顶就整个塌陷。
The use of these robots has been on the rise in Taiwan, including at another Chiayi factory fire earlier this month. The bots are able to enter structures and spray water in areas too dangerous for human firefighters to go. They're fitted with a number of cameras and sensors, which send information to their controllers through laptops and tablets.
具有热显像功能的镜头。第二个是可以跟随炮塔转动的角度而跟着转动的镜头。最下面这边则是机器人本身的镜头。第四个呢，则是气体侦测器的镜头。
This all as there have been calls for greater protections for first responders like firefighters. An incident in the city of Hsinchu last year, where 2 firefighters lost their lives in the line of duty, saw greater public attention on the issue and demands for reforms from those in the profession. While the robots have had some success, they still have some limitations as well.
目前这些消防机器人还是以人工遥控为主，还没有办法完全的自主判断 火场的环境跟自主行动，它没有办法长时间常驻于现场，因为必须要等到消防人员到了才能开始部署。
There are currently 141 of the robots being used in fire departments across the country. The National Fire Agency says the Chiayi fires show the robots' utility in protecting firefighters and will continue to integrate them into their operations.
我们还会再继续 因为这些成功的案例已经发生了，我们会继续进大概79台消防机器人，未来也会部件各多，在各县市继续执行以机器人替代人命的作业，让它能够发挥功效。
Each robot costs between $50,000 and $200,000 US. While the robots may be expensive, fire departments would argue there's no price too high to ensure their human firefighters make it home. Dolphin Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to see an indigenous Taiwanese choir called Vox Nativa performing at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
This is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?